Hello everyone, welcome to Redmen TV. It's the Uncensored match build-up show. Liverpool taking on Manchester City after an international break. Oh my. Chris Page actually is, Ste Hoare here, and we've got a very special guest from the Liverpool Echo, Andy Kelly as well. Gents, hi.
Hello.
Good, good. No more international football for a bit, Chris. Is that?
I mean, I haven't watched any of it anyway, so it's just the fact that Liverpool aren't playing that does my head in.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed a weekend off. I think we're probably in the very few who genuinely enjoy international breaks for that regard. Andy's laughing because he knows.
No, you don't have to fill 2 weeks in newspapers without proper football.
Yeah. I mean, Chris, what a game to come back to. I think you were pleased with the timing of the international break, probably for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Because of just what it allowed Liverpool to kind of assess what they've done well so far, regroup and come back again. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, for the team, it was good timing for it. You know, we beat Arsenal 4-0. Sometimes you go into it and you think to yourself, oh, you know, we want to continue, we want to do that, but it's a massive game against City. I think having that little bit of time to sort of reflect on how the start of the season's gone is not only good for the fan base, but it's good for the team as well. They can come back from international duty, focus on this Manchester City game now, and hopefully pick up where they left off.
Yeah, I mean, Andy, we're in great recent form against Man City. We've put in some fantastic performances, and you know, at the Etihad as well. They kind of, I mean, inevitably they count for nothing. You know, it's a very, very different Manchester City this time around. They've brought a number of very, very good footballers in. There's no easy way to predict exactly what they're going to do, and that could be a problem for us.
Yeah, I think these games, if you look at the game last season at the Etihad, it was an absolutely crazy game of football. Could have ended anything, couldn't it? No. And you know, City had loads of chances, but you know, Liverpool could have won it just as well. And I think if you go there lunchtime Saturday, I think we're all in a situation where none of us would be surprised if Liverpool were able to go there and win.
Yeah.
But also on the other side of the coin, just as likely, you know, if City were to sort of go into top gear, we know that they've got the quality that can hurt any team.
Yeah.
And none of us are 100% convinced by our defence yet, despite of relatively decent recent
I think
record.
it's a great point, isn't it? And I think that's the issue, isn't it, today? I think Arsenal are a top team, no matter what we want to do, and how much we've had a bit of a giggle about it over the last week or two. They were in good form. There's something not right at that football club, and Man City will ultimately be a completely different kettle of fish. This is a real test, and you want to see us be much more solid defensively than we have been when we've been put under real pressure so far.
Yeah, I think Andy's right. I think it's going to be one of those games where we're going to just try and make it absolute bananas. I think that suits us. I think that's what we do.
I'm going to need a translation on bananas.
Crazy.
All right,
Mad as a box of frogs.
I'm on it.
I'm on it. We're going to make it just mad. I think that suits us, and we're just going to see where the chips fall. We did it last year, and for some reason, or I don't know how that game ended 1-1. It was bizarre, wasn't it? It could have been 6-6. I think I'm with Chris. I think it's a good game for us to go into. I think it's good that it's an early kick-off at City as well. I think that benefits us more than it benefits them. We're just going to have to go. We're going to go hell for leather again. I think you know what you're going to get from us.
Yeah.
We're going to go all. You know, we're going to go for it big time and just see how they respond. And don't get me wrong, they've got some absolute quality footballers all over the pitch. They're just fantastic, pretty much. And they could easily put 4 past Liverpool on any given day because they can. Yeah. But then Liverpool can easily put 4 past Manchester City as well. It's one of those games where if I didn't support Liverpool or City, which obviously I would be really looking forward to this game as just as a spectacle. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, one player who definitely won't be featuring, Chris, is Raheem Sterling. Now, that doesn't make a great difference. No. The only difference that makes is that they are going to put a player on the pitch who doesn't necessarily completely choke at the prospect of playing Liverpool. Yeah,
well, listen, he picked up a late red card, didn't he, in the last game and stuff. Now, you know, at some point Sterling's going to perform well against us. I'm glad it's not this week, and hopefully it won't be at Anfield later on in the season. Now, I'm with both the lads. I think that it's going to be a crazy game of football, but there's something at the back of my mind that says that Anfield game on New Year's Eve last season where we just shut them down. We played one of the best defensively I've seen Liverpool play in such a long time. Yeah. And I don't see that it's going to go that way, but it's good to know that, you know, we've kept 7 out of 9 clean sheets so far in the Premier League and going back into last season and stuff. So people think that our defence is really bad, but, you know, on the last 9 games, 7 clean sheets is really good, and we do have that in our locker. Whether we have that in our locker when we've got Salah, Mane, Firmino, hopefully on the pitch is something a little bit different. But, you know, the way our midfield's performed and improved and started to win the ball back, we can definitely go there and get a result.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we have to discuss the elephant in the room, as it were, and the Phil Coutinho. Back, he was on a private jet with his Brazilian buddies from Man City as well. Yeah. All smiles, it appeared.
Free minibar.
Maybe that's what it is. Just in-flight peanuts. He's all into it, like, loves it. Is this too soon for him to be put straight back into the fray, even if that's on the subs bench?
I don't think it'd be too early to put him on the subs bench. It'd be a massive call to put him into the 11, but I put nothing past Jurgen Klopp, because he might think at some point we've got to get Phil Coutinho back into this Liverpool team. Anyone who saw his 15 minutes for Brazil, and obviously and the first game he scored, came off, he looks in good form. I don't think there's any issues fitness-wise, really.
Shocking.
Unbelievably.
No issues fitness-wise?
No.
I said the best cure for a bad back is a long-haul flight to Brazil.
Absolutely.
That's what we all need to be doing.
It'll be on the NHS, that soon. You know. It's a fortune. But you can... your head says bench, perfect. Get him on the bench, bring him on if needed, last 20, ease him back in, fine. There's a little bit of me that thinks that, I think I wrote something the other day about Jurgen Klopp. There's always been a bit of theatrical about him, and it would be very Klopp-esque to go throw him in, because actually there's nowhere he can go in this game other than play top level football, because everyone around in this game, that game last season we were talking about, I'd forgotten what the score was, 1-1. My only memory of that game is just, it was a brilliant game of football. It was, you know, 2 fantastic teams going at each other. And Klopp might go, if you want to get Phil Coutinho back into what it's like to be a Liverpool player, throw him into this one and see what he does. Now that's just me sort of thinking, trying to get inside Klopp's head, which is, you know, would be an interesting place to be. I think.
Very interesting.
But your standard play is to throw him on the bench and ease him back in that way.
One thing you need to, I think we should take into account is his record against City is fantastic. 5 and 7. He scored more against them than he scored against anybody else. And he's always played well against them. Predominantly, you know, he's had goals, he's had assists, he's run games, he's battered them by almost single-handedly at times. And we've seen it, players against us come, and the players who always score against us. I know lesser players like John Walters, for example. Burnley will start. No matter if he hasn't played the last 5 games for Burnley, he will start against us because his record's great. And I think that is one thing where you could think, Klopp could think, you know, he's had these a number of times, and it's been for the last 4 years. So regardless of who's been playing against them, he's done well against Man City. So I wouldn't put it past Klopp to just go, you know what, let's just get him in the team, get him and Firmino, click him back together again, because we're going to need it at some stage.
I guess the only real problem, because we're looking at this from the Klopp-Coutinho perspective, Chris, is how do you turn round to Emre Can or Gini Wijnaldum or Mo Salah and say, this lad who's been an absolute dickhead for the last 6 weeks, who hasn't wanted to be here, you've been here for all these games, you've been putting the graft in, and this lad gets to walk back in and take your place in the team.
It's a good point. Now, I think of it more around how many miles everybody's travelled. I know that I did some research. Manchester City players have travelled 107,000 miles on this international break. Liverpool players around 85,000 miles. Phil Coutinho, Roberto Firmino, 14,000 miles each. Aguero, Otamendi, 14,000 miles each. Ederson and Fernandinho, 14,000 miles each. So for me, I think of it like, you've got to have one of those Brazilians playing. 14,000 miles is a lot to put in your legs, isn't it? You know,
I guess we're lucky that they've done the same.
Well, they've done more.
Yeah.
You know, for me, Fernandinho's a key player for them. If they're playing the three at the back and Fernandinho's playing that defensive midfielder and he's trusted to go sideline to sideline, they need to have him in the field. For me, Roberto Firmino needs to be on the field because I don't think you play Daniel Sturridge in this game.
Yeah.
And as such, you might just be a little bit too leggy, especially with Phil Coutinho starting. If he's not played games of football, he's not completed 90 minutes yet this season. Having done all that travelling, it seemed like a really strange call to put him into the side. So for me, I'd go Firmino and I'd stick with those midfield three that have played so well and show them a little bit of trust.
Yeah. But I guess they could potentially have 4 guys who've done that.
Exactly,
Thing in the team,
and that's maybe an area where Liverpool can win.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing they've got in the favour is Brazil didn't play Jesus the other day, and he did start Firmino, and he did bring Coutinho on. So obviously, Jesus, although he was there and he's travelled, so he didn't actually get on the pitch the second game. So all that comes into account. I just think it's going to be a huge man management job this for Klopp. Coutinho's got to get back in the team. He's one of our better players. At some stage, he has to play. You don't not sell a guy for 150 million quid to just bench. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, some people think he might get the Sacco treatment, but I personally don't. I think, unfortunately, in life, the better you are at something, the more leeway you get. I mean, if a worse player does that, they probably binned off. But because you're a star player, you get more rope, rightly or wrongly. So
I agree. He's not Donald Hutchison, is he? You know what I mean?
Klopp has a man. He's got a job on because, like I say, he's all about for the team and for the cause and all that stuff. And there's a lad who didn't want it.
I totally agree with what you're saying there, Andy. I think there's a really strong case to just get it out the way. It's like ripping the plaster off, isn't it? You know this is going to be a nightmare. You know all the attention's going to be on it. You diffuse that by putting it all on Phil Coutinho and going, right, 60 minutes, I want you to go out there and go and do everything you can for that. Yeah, and then by that we come off to a standing ovation from the Liverpool fans when you've scored one and made one. And then this is all done. We just get to get on with the rest of the season.
If he doesn't play,
the longer it goes, he sits on the bench, all the cameras are on him.
I was about to say,
he comes on, all the pressure's on him to deliver off the bench when he's not warm.
This game is so big that yes, if he brought Coutinho straight back in, it probably would be the story from the game. But there's every chance by the end of the game that there's a different story emerges. It's City showed themselves, put up their flag to be champions if they've beaten Liverpool, or if Liverpool go there and win. Liverpool throwing their hat in the ring and going, look, we're a serious outfit this year. Yeah. So I think there's a different story that would emerge, bar Philippe Coutinho was back for Liverpool by the end of the game. It's obviously the one question he'd be asked on Sky before the game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm thinking, I don't think he will play him, but I can see this situation of Klopp getting Coutinho in his office, having that sort of, look, you're going to be mine for the next thing. We both got to live with that. City tomorrow, do you fancy it?
Yeah.
And, there's a little bit of trust that could be rebuilt there if Coutinho says, put me in the team, boss.
Yeah.
And I can give you 60 minutes or whatever, potentially. That would be an exciting way to do it.
I think so.
I don't think it'll happen, but I think we're in a lucky situation where
we're debating whether we can put in a borderline world-class player in 12 team or not. Yeah, completely. Exactly. Well, we're going to find out in a moment whether, having had all this Coutinho chat, whether we've put him in our starting 11s or not, and you'll have to wait a little bit longer to find out if Chris has done him in his starting 11 prediction. But I want to highlight this. We've done it so far this season. We are sponsoring AFC Liverpool for the coming season. Look at that. For an absolute belter of a football shirt. They are now available to buy, and obviously if you buy them, it gives us a couple of quid, but more importantly, it helps support local non-league sides and grassroots football as well in AFC Liverpool. So get yourself a Redmen TV sponsored AFC kit. Chris?
The Redmen TV shop.bigcartel.com.
Get in. We'll put the link in the information underneath. We'll put an annotation at the end of the video if you want to click through, if you want to just wait until the end of this, because obviously do stay tuned, it's great. And then sort that business out at the end then. By all means, do that. So, lads, let's have a look at what we've got team-wise then. Let's have the reveal. Okay, we've all gone for. Is that right? Oh, Trent is the only difference. Is that right? Between what everyone's
absolutely.
got? Let's go on then.
Andy's got Trent here.
Trent.
No one will be surprised. Trent in my team, believe me.
Yeah.
No, it's a bit of a thing. All the lads at the office think I'm a Trent obsessor, which I have been. And for me, the only reason he didn't play, was basically Klopp looking after him and the season. And for me, for all that I thought Gomez showed a bit more to to being a right back, obviously putting the cross for the first goal and was involved more going forward. And he's a good passer of the ball, Gomez, so you would expect him to be able to offer something going forward. But for me, Trent's on a different level in terms of an attacking fullback, and this is a game you need your very best players on the field. And for me, Trent's one of our best players.
Okay, interested to know your thinking, Ste, on the Gomez thing. Mine is more, I love Trent, and I think Trent's definitely giving you more going the other way. It's just that little fear at the back of my mind that I maybe want to be a touch more solid defensively. I don't know if that's what you've gone for.
To be fair to Trent, he's a young lad, he's a top player, he's going to be a top player, but Serge Gnabry gave him a bit of a roasting, I thought, at the home game. Trent kind of coped. In the end, he come back well, but for a while, he had him on toast, I thought. I don't know if you agree, but City's wide play is fantastic as well, and I think Klopp might just say, especially if I'm going to play Moreno, who's he's going to be high up the pitch, it might just be worth being a little bit more cautious. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Trent plays and the manager again just goes the heavy metal stuff and just goes hell for leather. But Trent's just played under 21s as well, hasn't he? And the manager's been keen to look after his workload, and I know Gomez has, but Gomez is a little bit more developed, obviously, in his career and stuff. I think we might see Gomez at the weekend and then Trent in the Sevilla game.
Yeah, and I think
knocking him free kicks.
I mean, we've all gone Henderson, Chan, Wijnaldum in midfield. It seems sensible, really.
It's interesting that in just a few games this season, that midfield, which most of us would have said, not enough creativity, dull, don't want to watch that, has been completely transformed because of the men in front of them.
Yeah.
In just, what have we had, 5 games?
3. Well, 3 league games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, it becomes almost automatic, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess we've all gone for Moreno at left back. No question for Robertson, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, that was the one I hovered over most, to be honest with you, because while he has had a mini renaissance, shall we say, Moreno, I still think there's plenty of doubts around most people. By all means, let's hope it continues. But he is a player that most people still have that thought that he could do something really stupid at some stage.
Yeah.
And while Robertson, I think, is likely to have defensive frailty showing up at some stage, I don't think it'll be down to him making terrible decisions, and I think you're more likely to get that with Moreno. But he has been in good form, Moreno. I think we should be fair to him.
Yeah.
And so
the shirt is to lose at the moment, isn't it? I think in terms of the form that he's.
We had a conversation off camera before we started, and the lads made a good point in that. I don't think the manager's going to want Moreno against Seville again. In which case, you might play him at the weekend and then play Robertson in the week.
We say that, and obviously we'll cross that bridge next week, kind of thing. But Robertson, dropping him into a Champions League game.
He's got to play some. He's probably got to play City or a Champions League game, hasn't he? Yeah. 1 to 2. So. Or they just go double down and play him against Burnley.
Isn't this great though? I love it. We've got 2 massive games.
Yeah, this is what you want. This is what you want your squad for and stuff. And I personally will play Robertson. I still don't. I mean, Moreno's really good the last couple of games, maybe, but he's not for me. I would play Robertson, but I think the manager's pretty much.
Listen, you've had your chance.
It wouldn't surprise if you played one game, won the next. Yeah. You know, that's sort of still giving both of them the opportunity to really grasp the shirt, but while also doing a little bit of squad rotation, which he obviously feels he'll need as he goes through the season. So, absolutely. In which case, I'd definitely play Moreno against City and stick Robertson in against Sevilla.
Okay. I think one of the interesting things for me, Paul, on how Liverpool play against City is what formation they're going to play. I think, they started the first 2 games of the season and they went 3 at the back, didn't they? But last time out, they obviously beat Bournemouth 2-1 and late winner there. They went 4 at the back and Silva started that left-back position. Now, if he's playing that left-back position, and then you've got Mendy, and then you've got... I was going to say, David Silva, skinhead, and he's gone full on defensively. They played Sane at left wing back this season, but not quite David Silva yet. If Mendy played the left back position,
is it really David Silva though? Because I just don't think it is.
No,
because
Stephen Ireland,
he's never been a bald-headed man, has he? and it just doesn't look right.
No, same as Steve, really.
I refuse to believe it's him.
Steve's never been a not bald.
I was going to say, the other way around. If I turned up with hair, that's like,
whoa.
But the Mendy thing at left back's interesting. It leads me more to Gomez playing right back as well, because if you've got Mendy at left back and you've got one of their wingers and stuff, you know, Trent Alexander-Arnold playing right back with those two attacking players charging at him does worry me. If Man City go 3 at the back, I think we'll roast them. I think we'll get so much space there for Salah and Mane. It would be brilliant. And I think anyone goes 3 at the back against us this season, they're going to struggle massively.
I was shocked when Arsenal did it. I was astounded when I saw their team.
You were shocked that Arsene Wenger didn't make quick tactical changes to his system.
When I saw that team, I was a bit nervous in the build of that game, and then I saw that team and I thought, we're going to absolutely smash this. 3 at the back against us, I mean, all the best, as Stevie Gerrard would say. I would be surprised if Pep watched our last couple of games and doesn't just go, you know what, we'll just match them. We'll go 4-3-3 as well, and he'll trust his players to be better than ours, because on paper they probably are. Yeah. So I think that's the formula he will use.
Okay, yeah, interesting stuff. Because we didn't get your starting 11, people can check out your live starting 11 prediction.
Yeah, on Thursday afternoon. Yeah.
So I'll come to you for score prediction first.
Okay, I'm going to go 3-0 Liverpool.
Go ahead.
That's amazing. I love that.
Andy Kelly.
Get straight out the way.
I'm going to go.
All 3 strikers as well. Again for the 3rd Premier League game.
Sure.
Same.
I'm going to go 2 each.
Okay.
I'd like to be more positive, but I can see a scenario where City have a lot of the ball on Saturday, and that we sort of possibly sit a little bit and try and hit them on the break, which we're very good at. But I'm not quite convinced that we're good enough to see it out without conceding a couple. Okay. So I'm going to go 2 each.
Oh yeah, you've little faith.
Stay.
4-1.
4-1. Yes. Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I see a 3-2 if we're going to win this, but I think the draw is a perfect reasonable thing. I don't think a draw away is too bad a result either way, but it would be lovely to make a real statement here, because I don't think we were given enough credit for the Arsenal results, because inevitably the narrative was Arsene Wenger got it wrong and they're in a crisis, etc., etc.
I did what the papers say next day on that. I could barely find anything written about Liverpool. It was just, it was reams and reams on Arsenal. There was bits and bobs, but obviously, it was, the narrative was dominated by Arsenal, wasn't it?
I think Sunday's narrative will be all about Sadio Mane and just how people. I don't think the rest of the league are onto him. Yeah. He doesn't get spoke about in the Hazard, De Bruyne, Lukaku mold. People who right now people think are the absolute top players in the league. And Sadio Mane is as good as any of those. Yeah. He definitely is, and I think that'll be your job on Sunday, Andy. If you're doing the papers again, we'll just be the whole world lord and how good Sadio Mane is.
I think our Sunday social media job will be batting off people go, it's Burnley next game, we're going to fuck it up.
You can't do it against Burnley. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we beat Man City 7-0.
That's what I think the narrative's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, that's fantastic. If you want more great Liverpool-related content, now me and Andy have done a chat on the rounding up the transfer window, some more stuff on the Van Dijk and Coutinho stuff, putting all that stuff to bed finally. That's very interesting stuff. You can check that out. You've got more stuff you can go to. Anfield Extra, the Liverpool Echoes, bonus stuff. It's all free at the moment.
It's all free for a bit, yeah, unless they've changed it since I've been away for a few days. But yeah, try out some really good podcasts on there.
Fantastic. And of course, the redmentv.com for extra Redmen TV goodness. And don't forget your FC Liverpool shirt and other stuff as well. And you know what? Steve's here. We don't do it enough. Read Liverpool.
Yeah, fill your boots on there.
Fill your boots on Read Liverpool. Steve and all his aliases. They're
real people. You keep saying because you've never met these writers, they do exist. They just don't live in Liverpool.
Absolutely. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing, and we're back with the normal post-match content after the match. Ta-ra.